Hi, this is Emma from Centered Within, and I'm talking today about getting out of your own way. Now, yes, you'll hear about, and I'll speak about it. You manifest, you desire, you choose what you want to do. You are the designer, the architect of your life. But there is an element, there's a moment or moments or longer periods when we get in our own way. So we know what we want, we spent time putting that together, and sometimes you can feel that it's landed. It's like, this is what I really want. And before that, there's been lots of contrasting ideas, and they come in because it shows you what you truly want. If everything was exactly what you wanted and everything was happy and love and stuff like that, you wouldn't recognize it as is. It would just be a constant. So contrast does come in because it does show us what we truly want. So we say we want this, or this idea comes in as like, yes, this is it. It feels great. Doesn't necessarily make sense of how you're going to do it, but it's that how bit is how we get in our own way. Because all these things start flowing around and we think we've got to take charge now and do it. And you'll hear a lot of people say that you get an idea and you've got to act on it straight away. That is true as well. But there's a time also you need to step back and allow things to happen because other elements come into play. Loads of other elements. Like, for instance, this place here, so the beginning of 2022, I thought that was it. I was going off, doing my thing, and I ended up going back to my brothers and sisters, and I was just like, why? Why can't I go on to the next bit? Why can't I go to the next place? I was obviously meant to come here, but this place wasn't even available because where I'm living now, the people that own it hadn't even bought it back then. It wasn't even a place that anyone could live in. And speaking to a dear friend of mine, she's now, I think she's found the place that she's going to move to. It was land where cows were living on before. So there's a time where we get in our own way because we think that we can control every single element. Now, a thing for me, and the thing that's always stuck with me, my mentor said it, I felt it, that life is like a tapestry. There's a stitch that goes here and a stitch that goes here. But those stitches are part of a long piece of yarn, or whatever it might be, that's attached to all these connections. And all these connections, relationships, things, they have to do their thing. Let's say you really want to be in a relationship and you've chosen what you want to be in that relationship, and you've chosen the person you want to be with in that relationship, but it's not there. That person may just be still doing a little bit of healing themselves, or they actually may be living in another country and they're on their way back. There could be so many little things. So they're on their way, but they're not just physically there yet. And then the meeting has got to come together. But you're thinking, right, you've obviously got to do more because you haven't done enough. You've got to do more to make this relationship happen. So you're forced in a situation, believing that it's not going to happen. And trust me, I do this all the time. Even being an intuitive healer, even being mentored on a daily basis, I still do this myself. So when you catch yourself doing it, also be gentle on yourself, because it is a very common thing. A lot of us do it because we start using our mind and listening to nothing else. And sometimes the messages are just get out the way, just step back, do what you need to do, but you don't need to control this situation. You don't need to navigate this bit because there's these elements you cannot see. Yes, you are the architect, you are the leader, you are the person in charge of your life purpose. But there are sometimes other elements have to take place that you aren't involved in. There may be a property that needs to be built. There may be a property that needs to be sold and then bought. There may be a relationship that's on its way, but there's an element that the person needs to move to this country, or get the job or whatever it might be. Because you aren't the leader of their life purpose, of the situation that's, it's your path. But that path is being woven by a piece of yarn that is attached to someone else's life, a situation that is being constructed at the same time. So when you're here and that hasn't quite happened yet, you're trying to do all of this and you're getting in the way of the natural stitching. You're stopping it because you're believing it's not going to happen. You put so much emphasis on it's not happening, it's not happening, it's not happening, and it's just the lack, it's the lack, it's the lack. Because we go into panic, we go into overdrive, we worry that it's not going to happen, and we start going back to what did happen, and we use that as a reference point. Well, it happened back then, so it's obviously going to happen now. Doesn't mean it's going to. But if you believe it's going to, then it will. You put energy into that. Again, you're not doing anything wrong, because we have these default settings that we go back to. As horrible as they are, they're actually quite comfortable because we know them. But just because we know them and it has happened doesn't mean it's going to replicate. Now, this takes real practice, real time, real dedication to change this mindset. And no one else can do it apart from you. You can get guided and coached and whatever it is about how to change your mindset, what to do, but you have actually got to do it. No one else can do it for you. You can't go externally for that person to change it for you. So let's say the idea is so huge, but you need to go and get some verification, or actually this is a great idea. You need to believe it's a good idea. It's not a good idea until you believe it. Just like, for instance, at the moment, choosing to write a book was a huge, huge step for me. And I still go through processes now where I reflect back to what happened to me at school. I'm just not academic in that way. I don't learn that way. That wasn't the most conducive way for me to learn. And I really struggled with English. And I was constantly told how much I used to have used to call them special lessons. And I was in, I think I was 13 at the time. So taking out your English lesson at 13. 13, yeah. For your special lessons. Oh, I can feel it in my heart now. And I still get quite emotional about it. But they're not there telling me I can't write a book. It's me telling me. There's no point in blaming that. That happened back then. That went through a period of my life. Yes, it did definitely have a huge impact, but it's not them doing it now. It's me confirming it. It's me reconfirming it. And it's about now me truly believing that I am an author and stepping into that. And there's no outside person that can qualify that for me. It's me that can do that for me. And I'm recognising it's me getting in my own way. Yes, that happened. And I'm very consciously aware of it. And I do work on it. But at the moment, that's not happening. That's not in my life at the moment in time. I have chosen to keep that there. And I'm getting in the way. But I'm consciously aware of that and I'm working on that because I do believe I am an author. I've got a lot of things, a lot of books. The content isn't the issue. It's more of the confidence thing. And that is growing and growing in time. And I know that I have had moments where, I pretty much write every day. Some days more than others. Some days it just comes flowing at me, like the way that I talk. Like I don't come on social media all the time. I do it when I have something to say. That's why, you've got to trust yourself. You really do. And this is where you'll get to learn, when you do trust yourself, and you'll pick up when you are getting in your own way, because when you are getting in your own way, you're not trusting the process, you in the process. You don't believe it's going to work. You need to hold on to it really, really tight and twist this and turn that, because you know that will work. But you're not trusting the situation to allow it to be what it's meant to be. That takes practice. That takes knowing you. That takes the trust and the faith in the process, and the trust and the faith in you. Knowing what might have happened once before, twice before, 3 times before, does not mean it's going to happen now. And it's your mindset. Your mindset cannot and will not be changed by anyone else but you. You will be guided, supported, coached, mentored, but they actually cannot change it. They can guide you in it, but they cannot change it. Only you can do it. And it's that changing of it takes time, and it's a repetition. And when you get it wrong, which you will do, because if you've been doing it for 30, 40 years, it's not going to change over a week, 2 weeks, 3 months. I've been doing this deep healing for deep healing, intensive healing for 2-3 years, and I still do it, but it's okay. You'll find you'll do it more when you're doing new, different things, or something big comes in, because it'll expose you to so many things. And this is where the contrast comes in, because it shows you we need contrast. There's nothing wrong when contrast comes in. It's not like I've done something wrong, this person comes into your life or this situation comes up, because it's showing us so much. You haven't done something wrong. You haven't, yes, okay, maybe vibrating a certain way, but maybe you needed to learn that. Maybe there's an element you just need to think, okay, I'm not going to get that validation there. I've learned that now. I've got that now. Okay, it might have taken me this amount of time to learn it, but it was only this time that you were going to learn it, because only now you were ready to learn it. So there's always layers. It's never like in a line. It's not, that's the next step, that's the next step. It doesn't work like that. That's the next step, and it's like that layer, that layer, that layer, that layer, that layer, that, and that. It's always ongoing. And because you haven't got it all in one go, you haven't done anything wrong at all. And we do have the default setting of getting in and thinking, right, if I hold this in this way, if I control this in this way, it's going to work. I know it's going to work, because obviously I'm doing something wrong, because what I've asked for, or what I want, or this idea hasn't come, and I'm meant to be working really hard, and I'm working really hard. Sometimes it's called, people call it surrender. And some people believe that's giving up. It's not, it's just stepping back and allowing what needs to be, and for you to have the faith and the trust in continuing doing what you're doing, and letting all the other pieces sew themselves into the next tapestry stitch. Because that yarn is not one piece, it's lots of little pieces woven together, and they're weaving together, ready to stitch. But you standing there holding it, the other bits aren't able to come in. So it's believing and trusting. And this teaches you so much about you, so much about your situation and everything else. It is an amazing tool to have. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that needs to come through. I think that's it for now. As always, sending you so much love.